do not report. So when you do it with wisdom, finding what is your ability, what can you do? A good example of this is a decision many years ago, which many of you have been coming here long enough can remember this. Past our monastery we had some clay trucks going past. And being the abbot of the monastery, I had to make a decision. Should we fight those clay trucks going past our monastery, or should I just let it be? And there was one occasion when I saw one of those clay trucks, a big truck with a trailer, overturn going down Kingsby Drive. And that was the time when I thought, no, this is just too dangerous. If you see a big truck like that overturn on its side, you realise that if one of you who were going to visit our monastery at Serpentine was coming the opposite direction, you'd have no chance, you'd die. So as soon as I saw that, I made a decision. It's a worthwhile thing to do, not for just the monks in the monastery, but for the sake of all the other people who would come up that road. So it was for other beings, not out of ill will, because sometimes it was a long court case, many court cases over many years. And so I remember just some of our adversaries once. It came Christmas time, we sent them all Christmas cards, even though we were Buddhists. And we got this wonderful little letter back saying, we didn't expect that. Where you're fighting a court case against us, but you sent us a Christmas card. That's amazing, that's wonderful, we've never seen that before. Little things like that showed we weren't doing it out of ill will. And also, one of the most important things was, have we got the resources? Not just financial resources, but emotional resources. Fighting a long battle like that. And I had to look in my mind and my energy levels, could you do this? And I thought, yeah, I can do this, I'm strong enough. And so we fought that for many years, and eventually we just wore them down, because we were more committed, and so they stopped. But I made that decision, I actually thought of those things. When I made a decision to fight or just to give in, those four things, am I acting out of personal greed, what's good, what's in it for me, out of ill will against something, out of delusion, or out of fear? No. I wasn't acting out of those, so I made a decision. It makes a very easy checklist, but sometimes when you do make these decisions, the other problem with decision making is sometimes that we put too much importance on making quick decisions. There are some decisions which are not right to make quickly. And I've found in life, especially as a meditator, one of the greatest ways of making such important decisions, which is like pain, I'll just probably flip a coin. Actually, I haven't got any coins. It's very difficult being a monk, having no money. Actually, I saw this other joke, I think it was in the paper somewhere, about the guy who flipped the coins. If it comes down heads or comes down tails, I win. If it stays up in the air, you win. But you just make a decision, whichever way it is, it's not important, a colour of a wall. But there are other decisions which are really important because they affect other people a lot. And those sorts of decisions, now I've got into the habit of making them this way. I get all the information I possibly can, talk it over with other monks, my muses, my mentors. Get as much information as you possibly can, put it all in, and then wait. That's a brilliant way of making decisions, to learn how to actually wait and not push a decision or worry about it or think about it too much. Because often when you put the information in, you keep a calm mind, you forget about it for a day or two. Then a decision actually comes up into your head. And it's usually brilliant decisions. It's as if these decisions are worked out subconsciously, and the best decisions come when you're not worrying about them. A classic case is one of the old members here who died a year ago. She came on this meditation retreat, which I gave her a couple of years ago. And she was a very high-profile social worker, senior social worker, had lots of responsibilities. So the retreats, which we give them 9-day retreats, they usually start about 7 o'clock. I don't think she turned up till about 8:30, because she was working to her office, getting all of the papers and stuff done, and she couldn't leave. I don't think she even had any dinner. She came straight from her office to the retreat centre in North Perth. Tired. But obviously I told her to rest for a couple of days before she really got into the meditation. But she told me the interviews, a few days later, that she'd come to the retreat straight from the office, finishing very late, with all of these problems. I mean, big problems. But she was wise enough, she'd heard his teachings many times before. When she came to the retreat centre, she completely forgot about them for 2 or 3 days. She'd done all her research, she got all the information, she just hadn't processed them. In just 3 days, she was meditating there quite quietly, her mind was very peaceful, and these solutions started popping up. And she said, when she basically listened to these solutions in her mind, she didn't know where they came from, they just came up, popped up. She said, wow, these are really good solutions. And she was so impressed with these solutions, which came up automatically. She told me afterwards, and she said, well, as soon as I go back, I'm going to implement these things. These are innovative, and I can see just how they're going to work. But she also said there's no way she could have thought of those solutions. It was a decision-making which arrived by putting in all the information and waiting. And waiting for the brain, the mind, to process these things and for the decision to come up. It's on experiences like that, which I've done myself many times, because of those sorts of experience, when people come up to me and they tell me, look, I've got a fetus inside and I'm thinking of aborting, what should I do? These huge decisions people make. I tell them, number one, please, no fear. Whatever decision you make, you will never be excommunicated in Buddhism. You'll always be loved, no matter what decision you make, and respected. So please, no fear. Number two, put all the information, gather as much information as you possibly can have about that situation. What the possibility of looking after that child yourself, or giving it to be adopted, what your family, what your friends think, your own ability to care for that child. Put as much information as you possibly can into your brain. And then the most important thing is just to forget about it for a day or two. That's the hardest thing to do, to stop worrying about it. And if you can do that, it's amazing. Just after a couple of days thinking about something else, solutions, innovative solutions, amazing solutions, they just pop up from nowhere. And you just can see other ways of dealing with those problems. Great solutions, which can only come when you're not thinking about the problem. This is one of the reasons why people who train the mind to meditate, who can let go of these so-called life and death situations, these important problems, they can just put them aside for a while. They found that their decisions can be so good and so effective and so positive. Sometimes it's always the case when we're thinking about things, we're just too close to it and we can't see the bigger picture. The old simile, again this is great for the camera, but it's terrible on audio. I put my hand in front of my face. How big is my hand? Is the question. My hand is so big that I can't see anything other than my hand right now. Is it my hand's fault? Is that the problem? No, it's too close to me. When I put my hand where it belongs, at the end of my arm, it's still the same size, but I can see all of you, and I can also see my hand. This is the difficulty when we have these decisions to make, when we hold it so close to us, we can't see anything else, we've got no perspective. We need to somehow to let it go, be peaceful, put things aside, rest, relax, whatever you call it, but stop thinking about the decision you have to make for a couple of days. And when it's at the right place where it really belongs, at the end of your arm, like my hand, then you can see much clearer and you make a far better decision. Which is why people who've learned how to meditate, to let go of the past, let go of the future, stop worrying about such things, they find it's much easier to make these important decisions in life. They can just let it go for a while. Put it on the back burner. Just leave it. And then a couple of days is usually the time it takes for most people. 2 days, 3 days or whatever. Decisions come up and it's so clear what you should do. In my book, Open the Door of Your Heart, I said it's like coming to the crossroads in life. Because decisions are like crossroads. What should you do? Get married? Become a nun? sort of go overseas, kill yourself? I don't know. But whatever decision you're about to make, stop for a while. Put all the information in. Like you come into a crossroads, you sit down. You don't have to go left, right, north or south. Sit down and wait for the bus. Because in a crossroad there's always a bus coming. And most buses have the destination written on the front. And if that's the place you want to go, then get on that bus. If you don't want to go to that destination, don't get on, because there's always another bus coming behind. What that means is, when there's a decision to be made, wait. Learn how to put it down. You don't have to struggle to go north, south, east or west. You can stay still and wait for the solution to arrive, and it does arrive. It's a great way to make decisions. And you find that the decisions you make that way, or which make themselves, are far more successful in your life. Now when you know how to make those decisions, life becomes far less stressful. We do all have to make decisions in life. And sometimes we don't know how to make those decisions. And because we don't know how to make those decisions, sometimes we lose sleep at night, we stress ourselves out, we get sort of stress-related diseases. I have to make many decisions as a monk. And sometimes people actually come up to me and ask life-threatening decisions. Now, like, sometimes many people have asked me, should I have an abortion? Sometimes people say, should I commit suicide? And there you are, faced with a person, and basically their life is in your hands. They're looking for you for advice. So sometimes I could get terrified. What if I make the wrong decision? But these days, I don't think there's a wrong decision. Whatever decision, as long as I make it selflessly, with no ill will, getting as much information without fear, it's always a beautiful decision, no matter what happens. It's not what happens in life which is the problem, it's how it happens. The events in life, whether it's a person dies, whether they get sick, whether they get well, whether they become wealthy, whether they're poor, whether they get married or they become a monk or a nun. To me that's not so important as how you become a monk or a nun, how you get married, how you become wealthy, how you have your cancer, how you live, how you die. It's the how, not the what, which is important, I think, in life. Which means that it's not the abortion or the suicide or the wealth or the success which is important, but how it's achieved and how you make use of it. At Christchurch the other day, that was one of the questions they asked me. Is it wrong as a Buddhist to be wealthy? Are you supposed to have little wealth and give up all your attachments? And my answer was, this is just an example of what I'm just talking about. No, wealth is not evil, as long as you've acquired it well and you make use of it well. It's not wealth which is evil, but how you acquire it and how you use it, which can be bad or can be good. It's not the what, it's always the how. It's the same with being poor. Being poor is not good or bad. It's how you are poor. I'm poor. Recently I was just at the immigration department on Tuesday because we were sponsoring one of the monks for permanent residence, and our nomination got rejected. You know why?